Hi, this is Trey Pastor. I'm on vacation now. I actually bought this collection a few weeks ago. This is the Invisible Man collection by Universal Studios from 1933 to 1951. There's 6 films in this collection. I knew about the original, you know, Invisible Man with Claude Rains, of course. So I didn't know about the other films that's in this collection. So, but I knew that the Invisible Man returns because I saw Abbott and Costello meet, Frankenstein, that Vincent Price, he did the voice of the Invisible Man, and years earlier, he starred in Invisible Man Returns, okay, which is actually the sequel to the Invisible Man. Okay, it's a different story, and that's what I watched yesterday. So I'm gonna give you my review of that movie. Okay, and once I knew Vincent Price was in it, it's a young Vincent Price, obviously, because this took place in 1940 when this was made. I want to see it because I'm a big fan of Vincent Price. Anyway, this story begins with Vincent Price's character Jeffrey Ratcliffe. It begins with him. Basically, he's on death row. He's about to be hanged for killing his brother. Okay, they ran a coal mining company, and police believe that he killed his brother, to get the company. Okay, so as the movie opens up, Vincent Price, you don't actually get to see Vincent Price. Okay, you get to hear his friends talking about him. His servants in the house, and then you get to see his cousin Richard Cobb, played by Sir Cedric Hardwicke, who plays his cousin Richard Cobb, and his Nan Gray, who plays Helen Mason, his fiance, and then his friend, of course, Dr. Frank Griffin. Uh, they're talking about whether they're going to get a reprieve from the governor, and they try to get Richard Cobb, who's a very wealthy guy and influential. He's his cousin, of course, which is Vincent Price's cousin. He's also trying to use his influence to call people to see if they can get him a stay of execution, stay of the sentence, but no such luck. So Dr. Griffin, who's good friends with Jeffrey Ratcliffe, he goes to visit him. Okay, just before he's to be executed. Okay, he visits him and then he leaves, and then of course the cops come in later to check his cell and he's gone. They see nothing but his clothes there. And then you find out later, of course, that Dr. Frank Griffin, his friend, is actually the brother of the original uh, Invisible Man, played by Claude Rains. And so when the police come to investigate, of course, they naturally assume, or the inspector naturally assumes that since he's his brother, that Frank Griffin gave him the invisibility formula to help him escape, which he actually did. And basically, this movie is him about the Invisible Man trying to, find out who really killed his brother, and and to clear his name, and of course, be with the woman he loves. And I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out who the killer is really in this movie. It's not that movie. It's not a hard who done it to figure out. There's only so many characters, and you can pretty much guess from the beginning, I think, of the movie who the bad guy is. But this movie it's good. It's a decent sequel. This came out like 7 years after the original Invisible Man, but this is a decent sequel. It has again Vincent Price. Like I say, you don't really see him in the movie. This is not really a spoiler. I mean, you see it, but you don't really see him in physical form. You just hear his voice, that great distinctive voice that Vincent Price has. As the man wrongly accused trying to clear his name. And of course, you have that caveat with the invisibility formula, as with the original Invisible Man. It's going to eventually drive him insane. So the race is on to find the cure. Dr. Frank Griffin, the brother of the Invisible Man, who's friends to Jeffrey Ratcliffe, is trying to find a cure. In the meantime, but to cure him of his invisibility before he goes insane. Okay, and of course at the same time trying to find a real killer. Like I said, it was hard to figure out who the real killer is. And this movie, it has a nice mix. It has a little mix of comedy in there, a little romance, a little drama and stuff in there. But it's a nice mix, and it's about 81 minutes, and it's a decent entry into, I guess, this series. I think it's a worthy sequel to. Nowhere as good as the original, I don't think. But Vincent Price, I think, does a good job, especially like I say, you don't get to physically see him, you just hear his voice, and he does a great job in this. And the characters too. I like the actor who plays Dr. Griffin, who has that pressure on him to try to find a cure for his friend, and trying to, and hopefully not have the same fate that befell his brother before his friend. So you got, it's good. And Nan Gray uh, is decent as Helen Mason, the guy, and of course you have Sir Cedric Hardwicke, who was in a lot of these horror movies. He was in, I believe, The Ghost of Frankenstein is Dr. Not Henry Frankenstein, the brother. I forgot the name. He's the brother of the original Frankenstein, not of Henry Frankenstein. I forgot the character's name, but he was the brother of the guy who originally created the creature. Well, not originally created the creature. He was a son, one of the sons of of Henry Frankenstein and the Ghost of Frankenstein. He played in that movie, and he's a good actor, Sir Cedric Hardwicke. He plays the cousin. He does a good job as well. And then you have a young Alan Napier who played, of course, Alfred in the Batman '60s TV series. He's in this movie in a small, sort of, well, not small role, kind of comedic kind of role, and he does a real good job as well. But overall, this is a worthy sequel, and I guess I am going to watch the rest of the movies in the series just to see how they are. But I definitely want to see Invisible Man return first because that has Vincent Price in it, and I'm a big fan of Vincent Price. So overall, this movie is a decent watch. Definitely worth getting this collection, I think. And I'm going to give The Invisible Man Returns. I'm going to give it a 7. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10, and that's mostly because of the caliber of actors in there. They even though the material sometimes is not lives up to their to the actors' potential, but you have good actors in it, and they pull it off professionally. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Again, young Vincent Price is in this as well, so and he does a great job. Especially like I said, you don't physically see him. I mean, you do see him, with the bandages on and stuff, but you don't see him physically in person, in the flesh. But you get to hear his voice a lot of the time, and he does a good job. So again, 7 out of 10 for The Invisible Man Returns. Anyway, let me know what you think of this movie. If you've seen it, what do you think of it? Feel free to leave comments down below. And if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button down below. And this is Trey Pastor saying so long and take care.